What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Iowa Fan Perspective here in the Play the Fight Song family of networks. We're here to talk Hawkeye football. We're here to talk about the recap of the Wisconsin game last week, blanking the Badgers in Madison, and then talk and preview Penn State. That's coming up this Saturday night in Kinnick Stadium. A little bit of a different feel this one has, as both teams have dropped a couple more games than we expected. Obviously, the turnover and change at Penn State happens to have a little bit of influence in that as well. But the Hawks got a good win in Madison last week, looking to build on that a little more in Big Ten play and look for a chance to get another win and up that win total for the season. Again, thank you for joining us. If you haven't been here before, like the video, subscribe as well. We do weekly videos previewing the Iowa Hawkeyes. We also have fan perspectives on Nebraska and Iowa State as well. And the granddaddy of them all here on this channel is the weekly college football preview show. We do live Wednesday nights at 7:30 at night. Ton of fun. We do all 136. We got G5 games of the week every week. We talk multiple G5 teams. We'll talk about the marquee matchups, the under the radar matchups. We'll even talk coaching and anything like that. Doing it all from a fan's perspective and for college football fans by college football fans. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hey, let's get this thing rolling. Let's preview Penn State. Well, let's get ready to do this thing. Let's preview Penn State, recap Wisconsin. We'll jump into a couple other things. I'll give it a little bit of a rundown on how the show works. So I'll give my thoughts and just kind of recap the Wisconsin game to a point. I know we're kind of moving the schedule down and rehashing last week a little bit, but I want to talk through it and give you kind of my thoughts on everything. Then we'll go into talk about a couple of our sponsors. They're great sponsors. You're going to want to check them out anyway, so we'll wait for that one here. And then we'll talk Penn State, their recent woes, kind of the issues going around the program, the current state of the Nittany Lions, and then we'll go into offensive and defensive breakdowns for this team. And then I'll give you a prediction on the game and what I think will happen in Kinnick Saturday night. So let's start with the recap of the Wisconsin game. I will say, pretty darn happy with the way it turned out. It kind of had the makings of it was going to be a crazy one in the fact that Wisconsin was supposed to be able to stop the run pretty darn well. They were to come out firing just from all the world talk about, how mad they were about the loss in Kinnick a season ago in the 2024 season. And to be honest with you, since the first snap, that thing never really felt like they had a chance. Like Iowa got the ball, quickly punted it away. Wisconsin got it, and it was over right after that. It never really felt in doubt. As soon as they got up 10, and then they got up 17, you knew Kirk was going to stay kind of in his basic game plan. Iowa was going to play Iowa football. They were going to run the football between the tackles really well. They'd take the open throws when they had them, but they weren't going to do anything crazy. And honestly, Wisconsin just kept giving them more and more opportunities to put them away more and more. Felt like the Hawks could have had 50. Probably took a little bit off the gas there, even in the third quarter and fourth, like obviously the fourth quarter. But it was one of those nights for them. And that program's in a weird spot right now. Fickle's still the head coach there. Not sure what their plan is going forward. I don't have insights. I don't have sources. I can tell you that there's a lot moving, as everybody's reporting out there. But that's kind of where everything sits. Hawks did exactly what they needed to, capitalize on the turnovers, play really good football, protect the football, make the open throws at times. Gronowski did miss a couple. He didn't look 100%. I think that's kind of well established at this point. To me, he looked like 70%, clearly told not to run and scramble and try to make a ton of plays outside the pocket, extend plays even. There wasn't really any runs that were him dialing it up. He wasn't organized in any way to, like we've seen in the past, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I can't think of the word I'm trying to pop into my head here. But no play calls for Gronowski to kind of get on the ground and run as much, obviously, to protect him and keep him upright. And once you got up a certain amount, you didn't need to run him anyway. But all the running backs were really good. And Moulton, 15 for 96, McNeil, 9 for 40, and Williams, 7 for 55. ran the ball really well. I mean, if those three are all humming and each getting chunk plays of 15 plus, I think they all had runs over 15 yards. You're just going to let those guys keep eating, and the offensive line is having a day too. Really controlled that line of scrimmage and made sure Wisconsin wasn't prepared to stop the run, which we thought they'd have a chance to do. Really enjoyed seeing Vandersee back. I think everybody's happy about that. 3 receptions for 29. Guys, that's a true X that Iowa hasn't had all year and was supposed to have for the year. And he can go up and get a football for you. It changes things. It's a different body type than what we have in Gill or Phillips. Dayton Howard's probably the closest version to that, but it doesn't seem like Howard's getting the same snaps that he was at one point in time. And then now with Vandersee back, I'd like to see them both on the field a little bit more together. Probably won't be that case, though. And then as well as that, like Heklinski's the new number 2. It's not Hank Brown. That was interesting to see as well. I know that there was a lot of talks like how he'd kind of made more progressions and things like that. But it was surprising still for him to get rolled out there instead of Hank Brown when we got to the point when we were bringing in the backups. I wanted to see him a little bit earlier just with the game out of reach and a bum-legged Gronowski, but that's where we are. So something to pay attention to there. I mean, you take every win you can get, especially when it's the first one you're going to get in a trophy game this year with the hopes of getting 2 more here down the road with Minnesota and Nebraska. And you get that one, you handle them 2 years in a row. You've won, I think, like 3 out of 4 at this point in time, maybe 4 out of 5. Things feel really good. You like where you're at compared to Wisconsin right now. And I think that's just an obvious statement, but it's always nice to win a rivalry game. Like, you never complain about it, never say anything bad about it at all. So that's just kind of where I was on that one. I think the defense never was really challenged in any true fashion. A couple plays that Wisconsin made early, maybe they had a chance to go score. But when you give up 0 points, what are you going to talk? Sounds like Harrell's not going to be able to go this Saturday. Going to be Montgomery again. I think he looked pretty good. I mean, just a spitfire, making a lot of plays. A lot of speed as well. He was showing when blitzing and then filling holes in the run game. So it's going to be another big task because you got a really good team in Penn State coming in that runs the ball, supposed to be running the ball really well. Offensive line hasn't really shown up for that. 2 really good backs that are tough to bring down. So another test does await Montgomery and the boys in the linebacking core. So excited to do that. But I am ready to turn the page and talk Penn State. Let's talk Penn State. But before we do that, I want you guys to check out our partners over at No Rivals. ShopNoRivals.com. Check out all the hats they have there. If you are an Iowa fan, they got about, I think, 40-some hats of options. I just got myself a new one. I wish it was in here already. But I got the baseball-style Herky on a black hat. It looks awesome. Also got an upside-down collection here. It says Hawks. They have one that's like more of a white base as well. Hawkeyes upside down. They have the Espresso collection with the script Iowa. They got just about everything you could ask for if you're an Iowa fan. And if you're not an Iowa fan, they have so many teams. I mean, in abundance of teams out there and a ton of different styles, no matter what your style of hat is. So if you're not an upside down collection guy, they may have a patch hat that you like. If you don't like that, maybe you like the espresso version of it. Maybe you like the diamond version, the baseball piece of everything. There's a ton of different hats. So check them out. Use code PTFS at checkout. Let them know we sent you. That'll get you free shipping. Helps us help you. That's kind of the whole thing here. But we do appreciate our partners over at No Rivals. They've done awesome things for us. And been partnered with them for a couple of years now, and honestly, it's worth every bit of it. So again, shopnorivals.com, use code PTFS at checkout for free shipping. Now, let's jump in to Penn State and kind of where everything sits as I continue to drop things all around here. There is a world or a situation here where Penn State just gets reinvigorated, fired up, comes out here on fire, plays like the real team that they are, and they play really good football on Saturday. That's a possibility. With Franklin gone, a lot of the players did talk about during their media availability this week, feeling like it's kind of their fault. They felt like they weren't playing up to snuff, which ultimately got Franklin fired. And when you lost 3 straight, one of them obviously in tough fashion at home to Oregon and a couple overtimes. And then you lose to UCLA, who hadn't had a win at any point. You bring in Northwestern the week after that. You'll lose to that one or them as well. it doesn't feel like low could get any lower at times, I think, in that program. And obviously, since they've turned the page, they're probably, they want to beat Iowa. Like, let's be completely honest about it. There's a rivalry that sparked between these two fan bases well before the events of 2021 that happened there when they had to play a backup quarterback in, I believe it's Taquan Roberson. And they said Iowa fans were cheering for injuries. Iowa fans were saying Penn State was faking injuries. There's a rule that came out after it. Again, a little bit of both might be true, but I'm going to doubt that this fan base is cheering because someone got hurt. I think they're seeing it a different way, and then nobody would do that in their right mind. That and then wrestling brings a lot into this as well. There's a massive rivalry in the wrestling community between Iowa and Penn State. So I tell you that they want this game pretty heavily, and this would be one that get them back on track. So you look at that, and with Terry Smith now being the interim, it's a guy they like. This guy knows the program. He's been there the entire time that Franklin was there. Players know him. Players respect him. They could come out and just play really good football. At the same time as that, there's no Drew Aller. Done for the year, got hurt. Ethan Gronkmeyer is going to come in and play in that Northwestern game, the last drive or two after he got hurt, assuming he's going to start on this one here. And still a higher recruit, 4-star recruit, hadn't seen the action, getting thrust into a tough situation, and now you plug him into Kinnick Stadium at night when Iowa's really needing a win. Iowa gets this one, and they're feeling really good about themselves. So things are tough right now for Penn State. But don't get it twisted in saying that, like, this team can't win football games all of a sudden. There is a world and a possibility that they come out here, look like the team, the top 5 team that they were in the preseason, and look every piece of it. Also a situation where they struggle consistently on the offensive side of the ball as they have majority of the year, and the defense still looks elite because the defense is still really good. And that's where I kind of want to start everything here. I'm just giving you some statistics here. Currently giving up 4.4 yards a play. That's 18th in the country. 3.6 yards a rush. That's 49th. 9.0 yards for a completion. That's 6th in the country. So their numbers are good. This is a good defense. It's star-studded. It's star-laden. You look at the pass rush and denied Dennis Sutton, Zariah Fisher, and other pieces on the outside. They can get after the quarterback. They do that really well. Oregon is pretty good at keeping them off. Dante Moore. Obviously, Dante Moore can move around the pocket and make plays for himself and extend plays. You're hoping Gronowski's a little healthier to have that ability and move throughout the pocket and extend plays and make plays downfield. But if you're going off what you saw last week, what are the odds he jumps 20% healthiness in a week? Feeling more unlikely than likely at this point in time. So you're probably getting a 75, maybe 80% Gronowski. He did not look like a guy that wanted to be consistently running the football and using that leg to extend plays and wasn't super confident in it. So something to pay attention to there. Amari Campbell leads this team in tackles with 52 sacks. Dominic DeLuca is also a really good piece. They haven't missed Tony Rojas the last couple weeks. Another linebacking piece that's been really good for him. And to be completely open and honest with you, like, this is a team that's going to be hard to run the football on in general. If Iowa can do that and look as good as they did, and maybe just a little, maybe not up to the exact snuff, but pretty close to what they looked like in Madison last week, this is a team that Iowa can run the ball on. It's also a team that could completely make you one-dimensional with the back end. You look at the Collins kid in the back end, he'll be a draft pick at corner, probably going to match up with an RVZ, or if Dayton Howard's in there, one of your true X's that trying to shut the thing down, that makes things tough, right? And I think that's a possibility that Iowa becomes one-dimensional, and then we're playing slugfest football like we have multiple times when Penn State's coming to Kinnick, and just so one-dimensional, it feels really tough. So that's why having a healthy Gronowski really does feel super important this week. What does Iowa attack? How do they attack? And what do they do? I kind of look at what UCLA was able to do. I think they just got Penn State sleeping through that whole thing, honestly. But they had a guy in Nico who ran for over 200 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, freak athlete, gets out and runs, doesn't throw a great football. Remind you of anyone? Again, if Gronowski's healthy, I'm not saying he's going to scramble for 200 and some and have 5 touchdowns. I'm just saying he has the ability to if he's feeling healthy. But that's not where you attack. I think you fight the fight that you're going to have to. You're going to have to run the football well, and you're going to lean on this offensive line that consistently gets pushed and pushed and pushed. Is one of the better ones in the country against a good front. I think you have to do that. Obviously, you want Gronowski to make the open throws. He threw a couple good ones last week, a couple big misses, especially on that first drive, had an open guy we missed. He's missed some throughout the year. But to be open and honest, like, I think there is a chance that Iowa could just play out of play action. It's roll the football well, try and get yourself to 4 yards of carry, maybe a little above that, and play off play action, quick, easy throws. Gronowski doesn't have to move much. There's not a lot of reads. It's just in and out, balls in and out of his hand consistently. A lot more reach in last week, in the bubble game and in the run game even. I don't even think he needed as that much. I think he also is one of those guys that he's such a trying to make the big play at all time type guy. And sometimes on offense, I just need you to get 2 or 3 more. Like, there's a couple of times in that game I felt like he could have just put his foot in the ground and got vertical, and he just played more sideline to sideline looking for a bigger play, which is fine. I'm not going to tell the best returner in the country how to play football or by any means. But there's sometimes where I need the 1 or 2 more rather than, and in 3rd and 5 instead of it could have been 3rd and 2 if we put a foot in the ground, if that makes sense. So just something to look for there. And pay attention to. You got to find easy throws on first downs, early downs too. Like, we can't just rely on finding ourselves running the football on 1st and 10 to get to 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6. Like, easy throws, open throws. We've been really good at a lot of these routes in the middle of the field that sit right below the sticks. This has got better in recent weeks, and Gronowski finding them in the middle of the field in between, a cover 2 or anything like that under the linebackers. Those things have been really good. And so I think that if that continues, we're going to get more and more confidence out of Gronowski at the quarterback position. Let's go to the offense. Again, I was talking about how there is no Drew Aller. I unfortunately lost his season to injury late in that game last week with Northwestern. Go to Ethan Grunkmeyer. 8 of 11 on the year, 105 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, has yet to be sacked. He did take an absolute shot towards the end of that game. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised he got up from it. He got hit pretty hard. He did not get to the ground quick enough trying to get a first down late in that one. So put Penn State in that opportunity to win. And then look at other stars. Obviously, we knew the stars in the backfield, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, both 70 carries on the year. Neither one of them over 500 at this point. Allen's at 467, Singleton at 260. Allen's been more the big play guy. He's had as long as 67, 7 touchdowns, averaging about 6.7 a carry. That's pretty darn good, obviously. But where the issues have come is the inconsistency in the air game. They went and got Devontae Ross. They went and got Kyron Hudson, Tribord Pena from Syracuse. And these guys have been fine. They're not lighting the world on fire. On the outside, there's been a lot of throws that have been open that have been missed, or these guys aren't finding space. There's something that really wasn't working, and it might be the Cuddle Mickey Aller connection that just wasn't really ticking for this team. But they're not really one that scares you downfield. It's not Indiana by any stretch, and Iowa really worked hard to limit the big plays, but Mendoza, with guys in his face and getting hit, was making consistent throws in the seam. He was hitting them on corner routes in between the corner and then the safety up top. Grunkmeyer is not going to make those throws. Like, it's different. And these receivers are not they're not the same guys as what Indiana has running around right now. There's no Tyler Warren to bail him out in the pass game and just make him make plays. So there's a world where Iowa does the same thing that Penn State's going to try and do to Iowa. Like, Iowa's going to make them one-dimensional and say, I dared this young kid to throw the football around and not make mistakes against the Phil Parker defense. Because, to be honest with you, TJ Hall's looked really good. He's looked a piece. And then you go to the other side, and Deshaun Lee has looked better and better. That's just being honest. I understand the Indiana game, maybe a little bit late of a reaction. You also put him on an island against one of the better receivers in the Big Ten. He just missed a tackle late. We gambled. That's what happens. Earlier, that was hitting in that game. If Phil Parker's confident enough in him to do that, then I am confident enough in him to do that. I've been critical of Deshaun Lee the entire year. So you have – I'm not saying Hudson, Pena, Ross can't go win one-on-ones and get open by themselves, but they haven't been doing it consistently. Hudson can legit go get a football for you, though. Like, if you're one-on-one, just throw a ball up and let the kid go get one. Watch his highlight tapes while he's playing at USC. He's got a couple more this year that you're kind of, how in the hell did he come down with that? He's that type of talent. So TJ Hall's got his hands full. Deshaun Lee's got his hands full. Lutmer will have his hands full. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how they try to keep, and Kotelnicki in general, Gronkmeyer comfortable. Are they going to lean on these two backs? Are they going to lean on an offensive line that's been good but not elite, I'd say, and a really good defensive line that Iowa likes, who got a lot of pressure last week, and below average Wisconsin offensive line and quarterback play, obviously, but they really did their part, and I think that's a huge deal in this game. So can Iowa get pressure with 4? If not, just crank up the pressure a little bit and get after them by bringing the safeties and linebackers like he was a lot in that Indiana game. Again, I don't think he needs to, because you're daring this kid to beat you through the air. Also, kind of within everything, this is a Penn State team offensively who's had their chances, and it's just been they've either looked really good on drives in games, or they've kind of looked lost. That's just my look on them, how I'm feeling about everything, what I'm seeing when I'm watching these games. If you're looking at their stats right now, I'm pulling that up right now over here to the side. This is a Penn State offense that ranks 53rd in yards per play, 6th, a little bit inflated because the non-con was a little bit of a joke. Yards a rush, 5, that's 32nd. Yards per completion, 101st at 10.9. Iowa ranks defensively 11.3, which is 74th. Obviously, we've had our woes in the past game. Rutgers had a heck of a day for a half. Indiana had their big plays as well. This is still a really good Iowa defense. It's not the same ones we've seen years past. It's not as good as last year, so even the year before that, but it's still a really good one. Penn State's going to have to find a way to consistently get guys open. And again, I feel like I'm just saying, how are they ever going to move the ball? This is still a really, really good football team. And there is no way to calculate or to really evaluate or predict the emotion of college football that people could come out with. You have no idea what you're getting out of a team. These are still 18 to 23, 24-year-olds who could just turn a switch on at some point and play off pure emotion and really light someone up. That's just a possibility. So that's kind of where I see the defense and the offense for Penn State. Obviously, Iowa is a 3-point favorite last time I looked inside Kinnick, looking to strike that thing on Saturday night. Going to predictions here, I like Iowa in this spot. I picked against Iowa against Indiana. I had Iowa losing by 3 scores in the Indiana game. Obviously, I was wrong there. Would have been happily wrong had we squeaked that one out. And then I had Iowa beating Iowa State. I still feel like we're a better team. I don't think Iowa State's great. I'm not saying Iowa is an elite team either, but I feel like we should have had that one. In this one, I like Iowa. I just think it's too much for this kid to come in. And I'm not saying Iowa's going to walk all over him or do anything like that. Give me like 20 to 10. Is kind of where I see this. Like, there's going to be something happen early. You're going to get a mistake out of the kid Iowa will capitalize on. It's just field position in the classic Kirk Ferentz play not to lose tactic. This might be enough in this one. So I'll go 20 to 10 Hawks. That's a cover. That's an Iowa win. And we're off and running into the Big Ten season. So appreciate everybody joining in. Again, check us out at Play the Fight Pod on all social media networks. Check us out on YouTube as well. Weekly live shows at 7:30 Central Time, Iowa, Nebraska, Iowa State fan perspectives. We also put up videos of the previews for VODs off of the live show, so check those out weekly. Share it with your friends. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Been a ton of fun. Looking forward to Kinnick. If you're in there Saturday night, be loud, be proud. Go Hawks.